Hey everybody, Livingston here. Today we're jumping into, you guessed it, another fun-filled Twilight Zone episode. This time it's Season 3, Episode 27, Persons or Persons Unknown. Came out March 23rd, 1962. Have not seen this one, looking forward to jumping into it, but before we do, let's jump into your comments for last week's episode, Little Girl Lost. B. Christopher Gordon 9562 says, one of my favorite episodes as well. Yeah, it's a definite great episode. I mean, they've based so many different things off of this one particular episode. I believe this episode was also based on another thing that came out years before, a little short story by Lovecraft. If you know his work, he does a lot of stuff kind of pertaining to other dimensional beings, aliens, things of that nature. And this is like looking into another dimension in general. So, I mean, other dimensions have lasted and have been around for a long while in terms of storytelling. Paul487 says, Little Girl Lost is a top Twilight Zone episode. You mentioned Sliders. Sliders and Quantum Leap were inspired by ripoffs of homages to the Time Tunnel, 1966 to 1967. I know of the Time Tunnel, haven't watched much of it. I mean, I know my dad was into it. Watched a few episodes of that show. Don't really remember when I watched it or what I watched. It was a long time ago. I mean, probably 35 years ago when I actually sat down and watched that Time Tunnel episode. But yeah, definitely things that I enjoyed. Sliders, I remember when that came out. I actually was up when they had the Sliders premiere. It was in the early 90s. And I remember watching it and loving it. It was one of those first shows that I watched where my bedtime was past 8 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, I get to watch a big show, a show that adults enjoy. So definitely it was a fun time watching that. Quantum Leap, I actually watched a lot of that when it came to the reruns. Really got into it. Scott Bakula, definitely a good show. Jay Woodbury 412 says, interesting trivia. Tina's voice was voiced by adult actress Rhoda Williams. Tina was played by Tracy Stafford, who also played the daughter in the episode Living Doll. Tracy Stafford was the voice of Lucy Van Pelt in A Charlie Brown Christmas. Robert Sampson and Sarah Marshall, who played the parents, were born 15 days apart, May 10th and May 25th, 1933, and died on the same date, January 28th, 2014, and January 28th, 2020. That date was one day before the birthday of Tracy Stafford, who played Tina, January 19th, 1955. Well, thanks for the trivia, Woodbury. I actually did state these things at the end of the episode. At the end of every episode, I go through some trivia for each one, and I believe, yeah, I stated all of these. But other than, I think, maybe the Living Doll. I don't think I had that one in my trivia, but all the rest of them I did have. But thanks for the comment. Very much appreciated. Antarctic Orb 9197 says, dogs rule. That they do. They typically are the saviors in a lot of stories. Ray 1984 says, it is Ray HS, first initial of my middle and last name. I do remember trying to pronounce your name. It's like Ray Haas or Ross or whatever I said. But thanks for letting me know that. I'm just going to call you Ray. How about that? This episode is a classic, and as I hinted and you noticed while watching, it has been copied multiple times. That I did. Very much appreciated. But I do think that Lovecraft was first in this, since he did write the story in the 1920s, and we ended up having a movie made of it in the 1980s. So, yeah, definitely things that were based on this episode for sure. Very much so the Twilight Zone. I can definitely see the comparisons between the two there. Slim Plum 1961, one of my first episodes I remember seeing. Love this one. Definitely a great episode. Interstellar Dave, one of my favorite episodes, underrated too, as I don't think I've seen it in anyone's short list of top 10 episodes. Top 10 for me though. Yeah, I can see how it ended up in your top 10. It was one of those episodes that was kind of outside the box, and definitely enjoyed the way the story was told. I mean, all taking place within a house, very simple in terms of them just following a voice around in the room. And of course, they had to do the camera trick with them going through the wall. But definitely a good episode, and I love that a lot of imagination went into it. Natalie Compton says, funny story, my dad said when he was a kid after watching the Twilight Zone episode, Little Girl Lost, he moved his bed away from the bedroom wall in his room. My dad said others did the same. I can definitely see that. I mean, it was one of those episodes that made you use your imagination, and you just didn't know exactly what was on the other side, what was in that wall, and they kind of show you with putting a filter over the camera and kind of doing like a kaleidoscope sort of effect on it. But I mean, to kind of going into another dimension, your mind does play tricks. Usually not showing what's going on the other side makes you have to use this way more, and it sticks with you more as well. Robert Jewell 9727 says, definitely a favorite episode, clearly influencing Poltergeist. The only thing I question about is that Tina's voice sounds too much like an adult imitating a young girl. But when you're in another dimension, perhaps the child's voice is altered a bit. Bernard Herrmann's score, of course, gives the episode its atmosphere. He was great at using a small collection of instruments using fragmented minor keys that have no resolution to create a sense of instability. Excellent reaction. Thanks, Robert. Very much appreciate the compliment. And yeah, the young girl was played by an adult when they were doing the voice. And when we see the young girl, it's a different person altogether. So that's probably why it sounded that way, but definitely a good reason why it would sound muffled and a little deeper, because we're talking from a different plane of existence. And yeah, Poltergeist coming up. I mean, definitely a comparison between this and the actual film. And I love that. I love the Poltergeist in general. I think that is one of my favorite horror films, and because it is all about using imagination as well, having to use your mind and kind of build up the suspense and making people wonder what the heck is going on, especially in the very beginnings of that movie when things are being stacked and we're not sure exactly what's going on. California Hummus says, on The Simpsons, Homer disappeared into the third dimension because before that, The Simpsons were two-dimensional drawings. Selma said he's vanished into fat air, which was one of the funniest things she's ever said. Yeah, I remember that episode. I believe it was, the Treehouse of Horror, and I would religiously watch that every Halloween back in the 90s when that episode came out. And it was when, I think, if I'm thinking of the right one, when Homer crossed through the different dimension and he's suddenly a 3D Homer, a computer-generated Homer. Love that episode, and I need to revisit some of those things that I used to love back as a kid, like The Simpsons. Surprising, that sucker's still going. Rick Kinnett 143 says, are the parents sleeping in the same double bed together? What madness is this for that day? Yes, I mean, I guess they just wanted to be close, and we were kind of going more modern, maybe, I guess. Jonathan Stein says, I like how you picked up on the influence that this episode had on Poltergeist right away. Yeah, one of my favorite films, so I see a lot of the parallels going on when I'm watching a lot of these episodes, especially this one. It kind of took the same sort of formula that this episode had, and I liked that. Poltergeist basically just elaborated more so on the story and what was going on, and especially the effects, so definitely an awesome thing to see. Jack Dorsey 4850 says, happy ending, good ending. Yes, we do like those, especially when it's not too funny and there's a lot of stakes involved. That's where I usually like those episodes where the main character really goes through a bunch of stuff and you're like, oh, thank God that it ended great for him, because if it went the other way, which a lot of Twilight Zone episodes do, it's just nice to kind of walk away from a story and going, oh, they got away. Well, with all that being said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue on viewing this wonderful show with me to episode 156 of The Twilight Zone. And stick around after the episode, and we will go over some trivia and learn about how this episode came into fruition. With all that being said, let's jump in and see what we're getting into.
The Twilight Zone.
Music was a little different there. Good morning.
Oh, great. Just great. Never again. You go right ahead. Sleep.
Did they get hungover? Well, at least you're dressed.
No skin off your pretty little nose, right? What a wife. What a doll of a wife. You could have at least taken my shoes off, you know?
Man, what a jerk. Definitely one who needs a lesson learned.
That stupid party in the first place. I go to work and suffer all day, and she sacks out until noon.
It's late. I feel bad when I sleep past 8.
Oh, what next? Wilma! Wilma, what have you done with my razor? Oh, come on, will you? I'm late. Wilma! Hey!
Hey now.
Don't do that!
Who are you?
Did you get drunk? Oh, man, I guess she doesn't know who he is.
What are you doing in my bedroom?
Now, just tell me where you put the razor.
I don't know who you are.
Do you know my name?
It's on the marriage certificate, remember?
Oh, I've never seen you before in all my life.
Cameo of a man who has just lost his most valuable possession. Because like most people, David Gurney has never really thought about the matter of his identity. Because that is what he's lost. And his search for it is going to take him into the darkest corners of the Twilight Zone.
Persons or persons unknown.
But if you don't get out of here, I'm going to call the police.
Go ahead, call the police.
Bedroom has some high ceilings.
If you don't get off that bed and out of here by the time I count 5, I'll call them.
Come on.
Give me
What is the matter with you?
Don't touch me.
2 martinis at midnight and she gets stoned at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, they were smoking that reefer back then?
What are you going to do?
Do you mind telling me what is going on?
She doesn't know.
Where are my clothes? Now, I am going to work. And when I come home, you had better have everything straightened out. No, that's very thoughtful of you, but I'm afraid I'm not very much in the mood for breakfast.
Then he goes to work and no one knows him at work. His car's still there, though.
Hi, Jack.
No one knows him.
Morning, Julie. Fred?
Yes, sir. May I help you?
George, who's that?
Well, that's Mr. Cooper.
Well, would you mind telling me what Mr. Cooper is doing at my desk?
Who, what? Well, this is one where it makes you wonder what the hell is going to be at the end.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Is he going to end up getting his life back? Is this going to teach him some sort of lesson? Or is he going to be stuck with the world not knowing who he is?
And what are you doing at my desk?
Your desk.
That's right, my desk. Friend, you get out of that chair or I'll throw you out.
Hey, now. Get security.
Now, look, Jim.
Ruh-roh.
This little joke has gone far enough.
Well, if you'll just step outside, sir, I think we can settle this matter. I'm afraid I'll have to insist.
You insist away. I'm not budging.
Put your hands up, mister.
Dear God.
Don't cause any trouble. I don't want to have to shoot. Call the police, sir.
George, what is this?
All right, keep moving.
What's your name, mister?
Ask her.
She doesn't know.
She doesn't know. After 11 years of marriage and she doesn't know?
You're crazy.
That's who I am, David Gurney. Look, I've worked with this man for 4 years. Now tell him. Fred. George, will you tell him?
Kind of got a sense that he wasn't a good guy at the beginning of this episode, and usually when that happens, it's like things aren't going to go well for you.
You say I'm not David Gurney, right? I'll prove it to you. Let's see what you have to say to this.
License?
My driver's license and my credit cards. What have you done with them? I'm David Gurney! I don't care what you say. I know who I am.
You've invented him. There is no David Andrew Gurney.
You're lying.
You know, up until now, I was on this guy's side, thinking that he isn't crazy and the rest of the world has just forgotten him. What if this guy has actually gone crazy, believing he is this other person? I mean, we haven't seen any evidence to prove otherwise, because he had no clothes, there was no sign of his existence within a house, nor the bank, or his wallet. So who's actually crazy here? Is he crazy, or has the world actually forgotten who he is?
No one knows who he really is. Now, let me see how I can prove it to you.
The phone. Let me use the phone.
What number?
Klondike 52131. Hello, Pete. Pete, it's Dave Gurney. He's my best friend. We went to school together.
More?
How about parents?
53472. Ask for Mrs. Gurney.
Mrs. Gurney, like your mother?
I'd like to speak with Mrs. Gurney, please.
Hello, Mom. Oh, thank God, thank God. What's the matter, Mom? Don't you recognize my voice?
I don't have
It's
a...
Dave. Mom, now stop it. Don't do this to me, please.
Well, it doesn't explain how he knows the numbers and the names of these people.
You live at 2457 Lime Rock Avenue.
That's right.
Do you have a telephone?
Certainly I have a phone.
It's likely that your number would be listed in the directory, isn't it?
Yeah?
Yes.
You'll notice that that is the current edition.
Look it up.
Go ahead.
It's not there.
Now do you believe me?
Maybe I should, but all right.
Yeah, one more.
If I'm not David Gurney, then who am I? In other words, I'm crazy.
Let's just say mentally disturbed. But looking at it logically, there isn't any other explanation.
Because in spite of everything, Doctor, I know who I am. Either I am crazy, or somebody's going to an awful lot of trouble to blot me out. They can rig all the phone books in the world, and they can pay off everyone who ever knew me, but they can't get inside my mind, Doctor.
So who did all this? Was it aliens?
I've done things that I've never told to anyone, not even my wife. Because I'm going to go out and find one of those details. Now!
Oh, right out the front window.
Before you say anything, before you say one word, give me a drink.
Anything in particular?
The usual.
What's that?
Irish whiskey.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Sam.
Okay, I'm looking at you.
What now?
Who comes in here every Friday night for the last 3 years?
Oh, a lot of people come in here.
What about Dave Gurney?
Who?
Me.
All of a sudden, everybody started telling you weren't you.
What?
Now, what if this is just a bad dream? That could be something as well, right?
Everyone suddenly couldn't recognize you anymore.
I think you had enough.
I've had more than enough, Sam. Your wife's name is Pearl. Your kids' names are Joy and Linda.
Well, that's true.
Wait a minute.
Are you all right?
I think so.
What did he see? Something just clicked in his mind.
I think I may have found that little detail they overlooked.
What's the number again?
6708777. My wife doesn't even know the picture was taken. I was going to say
Is that a 7 or a 1?
7.
So is it your picture? Yep.
Well, Doctor, what brings you here?
I might ask you the same questions.
This man owes me money.
$1.81 to be exact, and you know what for, Doctor? I told you they couldn't think of everything, and I was right. What about a photograph of me holding hands with a girl who claims she never laid eyes on me before this morning? Take it out and look at it.
Now, is the photo different? Does it not look exactly how it looked when it was shown the first time?
Well,
Oh, dear. That sucks.
I saw her. You saw my wife.
Oh, listen, mister, you didn't show me nothing.
Well,
I tell you, she was there. We were together.
take him away. Lock him up. Oh, laying down. Cut to him in bed. Yep, it was a dream. I guessed right.
Wake up.
Huh?
Wake up, honey.
Wilma.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this junk off my face.
I'll never take you for granted again, honey. Is it going to be happily ever after? We haven't seen her face.
What's the matter, honey? You sound terrible. Did you have a nightmare?
Oh, baby.
There's still more to come. Not showing the face. Why are we not seeing her
I
face?
didn't put you in your pajamas, honey, but I was a little out of things myself.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll keep not showing the face. You're different.
Honey, what's wrong?
You're not my wife.
Are you ill? Dave, why are you looking at me like that?
Well, at least she knows you.
Honey?
Take the win.
Dave?
A case of mistaken identity or a nightmare turned inside out. David Gurney may never find the answer in the Twilight Zone.
Pretty good episode. I kind of called what was going on, but it was within the last 5 minutes of the episode, so I like that it kept me guessing. The ending, I had a feeling that there was going to be some kind of thing that wasn't right. I mean, due to the fact that they just never showed her face up until the reveal there, showing that she was a completely different person and wasn't the Wilma that we recognized at the beginning of the show. Like the episode, another very simple episode that is not hard to actually create when you actually think about it. I mean, what effects were used? None, other than the fact that they had sets. But the story itself was very simple, basic, straightforward, and they kept you wondering what was going on throughout the entire episode. Definitely loved it. I like those kind of episodes. Makes you think. And even though I kind of called what was going on, it took me a while to actually get to that conclusion. Anyways, let's jump into some trivia and see what it took to get this episode off the ground. One of the first instances on television to show a couple sharing a single bed sleeping next to each other. Around this time, TV shows could only portray couples sleeping in separate beds due to television's strict standards and practices. In Season 5's Stopover in a Quiet Town, a very similar situation occurs. In both cases, the man is sleeping on top of the covers, is still fully dressed, even wearing his shoes, and they are hung over from a bout of heavy drinking. Richard Long later appeared in number 12, Looking Just Like You, playing 3 different characters. Something to look forward to. The 2 phone numbers Richard Long calls are Klondike 5-2131 and Klondike-5-3472, and may be the first 555 numbers used in television history. An early draft of the script for the episode contains a reference to Richard Matheson's novella Disappearing Act, adapted for season 1 as And When the Sky Was Opened. along with a different but no less epic twist. Upon seeing that the photograph of himself with his wife is abruptly and inexplicably no longer the one he just paid for, she has vanished from the photo. Gurney grabs the photo shop clerk, using her as a hostage. He backs toward a nearby balcony, then he shoves her at Dr. Kozlinsko and jumps from the balcony before the police can stop him. Rushing to the balcony, Kozlinsko looks down to see a vagrant slumped in the alley. Gurney, on the other hand, is nowhere in sight. Kozlinko bolts downstairs to where Gurney should have landed, right next to the vagrant who is still there, but who insists he hasn't seen any jumper. Moreover, there's not even the hint of an impact. Kozlinsko charges back upstairs to the photo shop. The police have vanished, and the clerk insists she's been there alone the entire day. Baffled, Kozlinko returns to the insane asylum, which he founded and has run for years. Its name has been changed seemingly in the hour he's been away looking for David Gurney. No one there knows anything about anybody named Kozlinko, and it doesn't help that all the identification papers have mysteriously disappeared from his wallet. Frantically, Kozlinko telephones the state university from which he received his doctorate. Nobody there has ever heard of him, neither. Then he calls his sister, who also fails to recognize him, who insists that she's an only child. Stunned, the defeated Kozlinko realizes that whatever afflicted David Gurney has spread to himself. All of this was changed and shortened in rewrites due to the initial episode's running length overshooting its time slot. Well, yeah, that is definitely a lot of information they had to throw in there, especially when he wakes up and you only got about maybe 2 or 3 minutes left of the story to tell. I actually enjoyed the way they ended what they just did and what we just watched. This is very interesting ending, and I would have liked it if the doctor basically had that smug look on his face kind of wiped off of it. But I enjoyed what they had even better, short, sweet, and to the point, and the twist at the end was pretty good. Anyways, let me know, comment below what you thought of this episode, and I will read your comments in next week's episode. And until then, see you later.